Okay, it's October 31st, 2025, Friday, and this is a continuation of what I was just talking about. I had to stop for a minute, but yeah. Um, so back to what I was talking about when I was watching this video last night on YouTube, or more like listening to, because it wasn't really a visual video, it was more like an audio video. And they talked about how if a person does voodoo on you, like with a voodoo doll or whatever, then what happens to that person who does that kind of spells on people? Well, what happens is that it backfires. It actually, apparently, anybody who does that kind of stuff, that kind of sorcery or voodoo stuff with an actual voodoo doll, where they, I think this is what they do in Haiti and Africa and Cuba and some of these countries. They have like a, and I don't know who else does that shit, but they actually have a voodoo doll where they stick pins in it and try to kill it and do stuff, and they'll keep the doll in weird places, and it's like basically sacrificing a doll, but that doll is whoever their target is. Well, people who do that kind of fucked up shit, pardon my language, but don't you realize how fucking stupid you are? That is going, like, how could you live with yourself doing that kind of thing to somebody? I have a lot of people who I don't like, who I despise, actually. I don't like them, but I would never be dumb enough to do some kind of shit like that, because I know the laws of karma, and I know that will come back to get you. So people who do that, who do these kinds of black magic spells and rituals on people, like sacrifices and using a person's photograph and shit like that, and actually do these weird things, these people are cursed. That reverses itself. Those people don't realize that they're actually cursing themselves. If they don't have that kind of education, if they're that ignorant to not realize that all that you're doing, if you do that kind of stuff, is you're cursing yourself, and it's going to, whatever you're wishing upon your victim or target who you hate, which, hey, it's okay to hate people. I get it, because I don't like a lot of people as well, and I have a lot of enemies, but I'm not going to do something like that. I don't care who the fuck they are, because I already know. I just know that kind of stuff, that if you go that far as getting a fucking photograph of somebody and getting a voodoo doll of somebody and going to a cemetery and doing this weird shit that these people do, that is going to haunt you the rest of your life. You're going to walk around with a curse of whoever you victimized, and if that person happens to die from that curse that you inflicted because of your fucking ignorance. And I'm speaking to the people who did this to me. If supposedly these people have done this to me, literally, like using you know what, you people who have done that to me, because that's what I have found out, apparently, you're gonna see what is gonna happen to you. I don't need to do any kind of fucking magic on you. I can just know from common sense that you people who do that kind of stuff, and if you've done that to me, because I know there's people who hate me, and these fucking neighbors over there who lived in that drug dealing house, and they were always spying on me and fucking around with me. And one time, I'll never forget, the guy asked me if I was a witch. He said, "Do you do witchcraft? Are you a witch?" And I said, "Why are you asking me this?" I said, "Why are you asking me this? You don't even know." I was kind of laughing. I was like, "Where is this coming from? And why are you asking me? And by the way, why are you stalking me?" So, and he's telling me that he basically, what they do is they're confessing what they do. Like, whenever people ask you these random questions like that out of the blue, when they don't even fucking know you like that, they're letting you know stuff that they do. Basically, they're projecting what they do. And you can see it. You can read between the lines when you pay attention to people, when they talk to you, if they ask you strange questions like that they don't even know you. So I was basically living next door to a whole fucking witches coven. These people were demonic, satanic, drug dealing pimps, whatever they were doing in that house, killing people. Apparently there were bodies that were found in the backyard in suitcases that were buried in that backyard next door. These people were murderers. They were drug dealers, and they were pimps, and they were prostitutes, and they were always stoned out of their minds on meth and crack cocaine and God knows what else they were doing, but they were targeting me for no reason. Okay? For no fucking reason at all. I became their target simply for living next door. So I had to deal with them constantly stalking me, constantly doing a noise harassment, spying on me, invading my privacy, asking me questions, doing filthy shit in front of my face to see how I was going to react. And then, of course, the several times that I did call the authorities to report it, well, they would show up and it's like, well, what's going to get done? Is anything going to actually transpire from this? Because the same thing would happen a week later. You know, the police would show up with their, in the middle of the night, doing something with their flashlights and walking around the property, and then nothing would ever transpire. And then the same thing would happen a week later, where there's drug dealing and fights and screaming and stuff. So I don't know. I was like, you know, these people clearly are working as snitches, or there's something that is not adding up here. And why were they so eager to get my reaction to all of this is what I want to know. Like, why were they so intent on my reaction to their gang stalking and surveillance and whatever you want to call it, organized crime? Well, no, it was very disorganized crime, is what I meant to say. Why me? Why me? Okay, well, I don't do meth. I've never done that stuff. Nor would I ever want to. But they seem to think that, I suppose, like I said, anytime a person has dabbled or experimented with some recreational light drugs in the past, like myself, like marijuana, you really call that a hard drug? I don't think it's, I mean, come on, there's so many people out there who have smoked pot and who still do, okay? It's not like it's a big deal. I mean, I don't do it anymore, but I don't give a fuck if people want to smoke pot all fucking day or do whatever the fuck you want to do, but I don't want to do it. I don't give a shit what you do, but don't get me involved, okay? And I don't care if you're a fucking meth addict walking around snorting, doing your meth, but I don't want to have anything to do with you, and I don't want to have anything to do with that. But to each his own. Once again, I think that the government ought to just legalize all the drugs, everything, just legalize it so that let these people do what they want to do. Let them figure it out on their own and learn from the consequences of the effects of these kinds of drugs. If they want to destroy their lives and health, then hey, you have an open invitation to do that. But you know, I mean, it seems, it's just kind of strange, because it is their body. If people have the right to put whatever they want to in their body, they're not, as long as they're not inflicting harm, intentional harm, physical harm on another person, is the way I see it. Then people should be able to do whatever they want and take whatever substances they want, as long as they are not hurting anybody else. That's the way I see it. They're hurting themselves, ultimately. But if they're not out there going around causing problems for other people and trying to physically harm people or do damage to people's property or, you know, crimes, well, then let them do what they want to do. As long as they're doing that in their own home or whatever, who gives a shit? I couldn't care less. I'm just saying that a lot of these people don't realize that the consequences to what they do, there's always going to be consequences to their actions. And unfortunately, with a lot of these drugs, they're very addictive. They're very addictive, and they're very dangerous, a lot of them, and they are like poison. That some of these synthetic things that they sell at these head shops, because I've tried some of that stuff in the past, and I wouldn't. It's actually like you're basically poisoning yourself. I think it's poison. I think it's very dangerous. It's in my opinion. But like I said, I am not here to tell anybody what to do, but I do not appreciate being scapegoated in a community by people who don't even fucking know me, but who are already slandering my name long before they ever talk to me and ruining my reputation at the gym and whatnot, simply because I was calling them out for what they were doing. So anyway, whatever, people don't like people who are if you don't conform to what society expects, if you're somebody who's different, if you just do your own thing, you just get punished. You get punished by the gossiping, flying monkey, narcissistic people who work in the government and whatnot. And that's just how it is. It's going to always be like that. It's always been like that. And that's why I feel like people who are really being targeted on a daily basis and actually experiencing the effects of gang stalking, all the trauma and the confusion and the anxiety, the stress that it causes you, then by all means, I do think that you should document it as best you can and present yourself on a channel, a platform, and discuss it and talk about it, is what I think. Because these people don't have the right to be playing community enforcement agents or whatever you want to call them. They don't have the right to be doing that to anybody.